This next question or comment comes from Andrew Patak. In response to the Death of the Kronos video, a video I did in December 2021. And Andrew writes, with the Nautilus, Korg has finally produced something to my liking. The instrument looks good and feels good, and just like the M1, T3 and O1W did. They all looked professional, so does the Nautilus. Sound? All Korg, Roland, Yamaha, Casio, Kawai, Kurzweil instruments sound fantastic. So it all comes down to look and feel. Thank you, Korg, for making an instrument that is aesthetically pleasing again. I'm planning to buy a Nautilus 73 key version very soon, and when it comes down to spending bucks on something, it has to look and feel good as well. Now, I think I've said a few times on the channel that I do not like the styling of the Nautilus in the 61. Sorry, I do like the styling of the Nautilus in the 61 and 73. I like this sort of bow wave that they've got going on with it. In fact, I have liked the styling of the current Kronos and the Oasis, but I think that the Oasis trumped the Kronos with the tilt screen and LED coloured LEDs that sort of rule over the user interface, which they dropped when they brought out the Kronos, which I think was a severe failing actually, because they really set it off, but without being too busy. That was my opinion anyway. I agree the flagship keyboard from all manufacturers give you stock sounds that are way, but it's the way that they generate the sounds and the tones and how easy it is to manipulate and create from scratch that becomes the deciding factor. Personally, we are moving from a menu-based parameters to a visual based sound design the more we move forward. That said, the Nautilus is a very capable machine. I've said that from the start, but as I've said, not a large enough step in functionality to move me from my Kronos 2 to the Nautilus at the moment anyway. Andrew then writes back and says the Oasis aesthetically was not as good. Personal opinion. The screen looked cheap and so did the rubber pads underneath. The original Kronos was an improvement, but it still looked like a PC a little bit. The Nautilus does not look like a PC, finally, and anyway I'm getting the Nautilus 73 in mid-January, while the T2 remains my all-time dream Korg instrument. I've been looking for a T2 in nice condition on eBay, but so far there's been nothing but heavily run down ones. Yeah, the T2 was a good machine, I have to be honest. By the way, if you're looking for a utility, get a PC with plugins and an M audio controller. If you're looking for a musical instrument, get something that wouldn't go out of place on a Steinway grand piano. Case in point, the Korg got it right with the M1. The aesthetics were perfect and it's very capable. Synthesizer. And it was. The M1 was a superb synthesizer, hence the reason why it was in production for so long. I'm also glad that the Korg is keeping its 2 oscillator architecture from the M1 all the way through to Nautilus. But I've got to be honest, I have to say that I disagree with Andrew on the Oasis. We agree to disagree. I think it looks very industrial, and that's probably why I like it. The world would be boring if we all agreed. That's very true. On the Steinway point, the Korg T1 looks like a piece of furniture, and the reason I like it is that you can use it as a master keyboard with sound modules and computers on the areas that the other half, given the chance, would put flowers and pots and stuff over, which is very true. If you look at the way the T1 is laid out, you've got these big area either side of the sort of control area, and I do like it because when I'm using the T1 I can put my computer there, or I can put a sound module there, or I can put I can have a music stand there, a sort of little table-based music stand there with a music book on it. It's something that sort of kind of gets missed with keyboards nowadays, the music stand, because everybody assumes you can play. But sometimes you do need to have the sheet music in front of you, because unlike people who can play by ear, I can't. I do need to learn a piece of music, and that means putting the music in front of me and learning how to play it. Hey ho. Thank you very much, Andrew. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment or question comes from Sean C. And this is in response to, but what do we know about the Behringer LinnDrum? Video I did in June 2021. Sean writes, now this comment was actually in response to somebody else's reply, and I normally, once I've covered a comment, that's it. And he does, he will only comment once or maybe make a couple of responses. But this is an additional comment, adds additional context to the LinnDrum history. Since LinnDrum was the second version of the LM1, and I mistakenly on one of the videos called it the LM2 because kind of I was in a circle of people at the time and that was not what it was known as. It's only natural to think it should have been called the LM2. Why break in the name continuity? The LM1 was great by the Lynn Moffat Electronics Company, and in the early 80s Alex Moffat left the company, which was renamed Lynn Electronics. With Alex gone, the second version was named after the remaining partner, Roger Lynn. Therefore it was only simply called the LinnDrum. Before Lynn Electronics closed its doors and Roger went to Akai, he produced the Lynn 8000. Ugh, another name change. During the last few decades there was talks about Roger producing the LinnDrum 2. However, he's now focused on performance controllers, the Lynn instrument. There's not a lot I can say about that because that actually covers everything. It was a good potted history, and it's very true that Roger Lynn, I mean, for those that don't know, I mean, what Sean references here has gone to Akai. But the whole MPC concept that Akai have been basically milking for God knows how many years was developed by, or a lot of it was developed by Roger Lynn for them, and a kind of, it was a natural progression from the LinnDrum, effectively sample EEPROMs, to a machine that could sample and reproduce sounds in that sort of fashion. Hell,